In 1959, 9 experienced hikers embarked on a trekking expedition in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. Led by Igor Dyatlov, the group aimed to reach Mount Torten, but what started as an adventure turned into one of the most perplexing mysteries in modern history. The tragedy occurred in a remote area now ominously known as Dyatlov Pass, where the hikers met an untimely and inexplicable death. Igor Dyatlov, a skilled and seasoned outdoorsman, carefully selected a team of hikers he trusted to meet the grueling demands of their ambitious expedition. Their objective was more than just conquering the trail. It was to achieve the prestigious grade I hiking certification, the highest level in Soviet mountaineering. This elite certification required participants to demonstrate exceptional endurance, strength, and mastery of navigation under extreme conditions. The group's ultimate goal was to reach the summit of Mount Torten, a remote and formidable peak nestled deep in the Ural Mountains. The journey to this destination was as challenging as the mountain itself. They faced vast stretches of wilderness where temperatures regularly dropped below 20 degrees 4 degf, and sudden shifts in weather could transform their environment from manageable to life-threatening in moments. Navigating the unforgiving terrain and braving such unpredictable conditions required every ounce of skill and preparation the team possessed. Just days into the journey, one member, Yuri Yudin, began to feel unwell, suffering from back pain and joint issues that forced him to turn back. Though this decision disappointed him, it likely saved his life, as he would become the sole surviving member of the original group. Despite Yudin's early departure, the rest of the team continued undeterred. They trekked through dense forests, across frozen rivers, and over challenging mountain passes, documenting their journey through photographs and diary entries. The group was in high spirits, celebrating small victories along the way and building campfires at night. On the night of February 1st, after trekking through these harsh conditions, the hikers made the decision to establish their final camp on the exposed slope of Kholat Syakhl. This was a strange and puzzling decision, as the location was particularly vulnerable to the extreme cold and powerful winds that were battering the area. The hikers were suddenly awakened by an unknown force or terrifying event that drove them to abandon the safety of their tent and flee into the bitter cold without their warm clothing or footwear. It remains unclear exactly what prompted this panic, whether it was an external threat, a natural disaster, or some other unseen force, but whatever it was enough to make them abandon the shelter and the security of their camp. The sight of the tent, slashed open from the inside with their belongings left behind in the snow, was a chilling discovery for the searchers who would later come to investigate. The hiker's tent was found partially buried in snow, but what was immediately disturbing was that it had been cut open from the inside. This suggested that the group had cut their way out of the tent in a hurry, indicating a sense of extreme urgency or fear. Inside the tent were their belongings, including warm clothing, shoes, and personal items, all of which had been left behind. Some of the hikers had fled into the night with only their light clothing on, and some were barefoot, despite the frigid conditions, which would have been life-threatening in the extreme cold of the mountains. This behavior was completely out of character for such experienced hikers and raised immediate questions about what had caused the group to abandon the safety of their shelter in such a reckless manner. As the search continued, the bodies of the hikers began to be discovered in various stages. The first 2 bodies, those of Doroshenko and Krivonishenko, were found near a large cedar tree, about 1,500 feet from the tent. Both men were in their underwear and barefoot, likely attempting to escape the cold or make a fire, as a small campfire was discovered nearby. The area around them was marked by broken branches up to 15 feet high, suggesting that one or both of the men had climbed the tree, perhaps in a frantic attempt to spot the tent or locate other group members who may have been separated during their flight. Despite their efforts, the men perished from exposure, their bodies showing signs of severe hypothermia. The autopsy reports also revealed other peculiarities. Some of the hikers' clothing was found to be contaminated with traces of radioactivity, an unsettling discovery that raised even more questions. The presence of radiation was particularly troubling because there was no obvious source of radioactive material in the area, and it seemed odd that only certain items of clothing were affected. The closure of the case, along with the heavy restrictions placed on access to the investigation files, ensured that the Dyatlov Pass incident would remain a source of mystery and intrigue for years to come. Over the decades, a variety of theories have been proposed to explain the strange and tragic deaths of the hikers, but none have been able to fully account for all the peculiarities of the case. The Dyatlov Pass incident stands as a stark reminder of nature's relentless power and the vulnerability of even the most skilled adventurers to forces beyond their understanding. It also reflects humanity's enduring drive to uncover answers, no matter how elusive they may be. As one of the 20th century's greatest unsolved mysteries, it has inspired countless books, documentaries, and theories, ensuring its enigmatic legacy lives on for generations.